Hello everyone, my name is Valentin Toby. I'm a security architect with F5, and I'll briefly demo how to use an open source API security tester to test the security controls of an open banking deployment such as FDX, the North American version of Open Banking standard. I will briefly describe the test setup, but if you want to find out more, there will be a DevCentral article linked in the description below that will go into more details. So let's get started. To represent the notional open banking backend, I chose a microservice that implements the FDX API deployed in Google Cloud's Kubernetes engine. The security controls are represented by Nginx Subprotect API Gateway deployed as an ingress controller for the same GKE cluster, and F5's distributed cloud WAP that provides the WAP functionality, bot management, and distributed denial of service functionality. The challenge the API security tester is trying to overcome is the automated testing of such a setup that requires dynamic generation of the JSON web tokens to be used in the later stages for security API testing. The API security tester relies on a number of open source components such as Robot Framework for test orchestration, Selenium WebDriver for simulating end-user interaction, and Nuclei for API vulnerability testing. The general flow is for Robot Framework to kick off an initial stage where Selenium will go through the consent journey a real end user will go through to authorize a transaction and obtain the JOT, which will be transferred as an input parameter to the test stages. For demo purposes, the first test will check the functionality, that is, the security controls are allowing valid traffic, and the second test will use Nuclei to perform a vulnerability test against the API backend. Let's see the API tester in action. The entire setup is deployed using GitHub Actions and Terraform Cloud, and the robot test suite is run automatically with the results report being sent in an email attachment. You can see the creation of a new branch, triggering the CI/CD pipeline. This will deploy the GCP environment, the GKE cluster, and the FDX microservice. The security controls are represented by the Nginx Subprotect ingress controller and the F5xe WAP. Finally, the API tester is deployed in an F5 distributed cloud virtual Kubernetes environment, and the test suite is run. You can see the email with the results report attached. Once the archive is extracted, we can consult the test execution log. You can see the initial test suite that obtains the job, and the two follow-on test suites, one for functionality and the second for vulnerability testing. You can also see the dynamically generated job. Just to note that in this case, the failure of the functionality tests is due to the automatically generated backend microservice, which is not implementing the FDX Open API spec as expected by the API tester, but the tests will likely pass against the real FDX implementation. With that being said, I hope this was useful. Thank you for your attention.